My name is Josh Feedy. I'm the Director of Business Development at Foundry. Foundry is based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're a digital product solution agency. Founders Live asked if we could put together a 6-part video series, and we're thrilled about this. Each video is going to be moderated by our president, Kurt Schmidt, and various members of our team will be joining in those videos. We hope that you find all of them very informative. This second video in our series is called Build Your Team. I again will be joining Kurt, our president, for this video. We're going to be talking about the who, what, where, when of adding talent and things that surround that. We look very forward to the discussion in the chat forum after the video, as always, and we hope you learn a lot.
Hello, Josh.
Hey, Kurt.
Hey, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me back again.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got a lot to talk about today.
Yep, part two.
Part two, we're going to be talking about building your team.
Yeah.
So there's a couple different ways that I've seen startups start.
Yep.
One is that you have a founder who's got a passion for an idea and a solution for people.
Yep.
The other is a more technical person who also has that same passion, but they're both approaching it from very kind of two different ways,
Yeah.
right? That non-technical co-founder, who is somebody that I engage with quite a bit,
Yep.
is looking for help from a technical perspective, make the right technology choices, also, figuring out how to scale.
Right.
And then what are some of the ways that they should approach it? You spend a lot of your time with people who are more technical that
Yep.
are looking for those people that can help sell that idea, right?
Yeah, they, when I run into technical co-founders in the world, they love asking me questions because my background is in business development, right? So typically you're not going to have both of those skill sets, right? Mm-hmm. You're not going to be a technical person that can also go out and sell your product and communicate the benefits of it all the time,
It is
right?
very rare.
Yep. And you're not going to be a biz dev person like me, an idea person that can go out and build what you actually want to build, right? So, building that team early on, identifying potential co-founders that can help you get through that journey is super important, right? Mm-hmm. And we were talking about this a little bit before as well. There's so many different ways you can go with this, right? So, do you need a co-founder on day one? Not necessarily, right? So what are some of the other ways that you can, let's say you're not technical, but you need somebody to help you get through that technical piece.
Right.
Who are some of those key players that you could bring to your team early on?
Yeah, I think there's a number of different ways you can approach it. And let's be clear, it all depends on the idea, the service or product or solution that you're trying to design, right? Yep. Because to that effect, you might want a designer up front to help you kind of flush out what the user experience is going to be,
yep.
and then how people are going to be impacted by that product. But again, you might need somebody more technical that can help you because maybe it's a big heavy lifting service in the back end, has a lot of APIs or has to connect to a lot of different things, and you're going to need somebody that can architect that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on the approach, but one of the first people that I usually suggest with folks is somebody to help you get something just stood up.
Yep.
And that could be more of a full stack person, somebody who's comfortable in the front end and comfortable in the back end, that can help you get something kind of working and going and moving along that way.
Yep.
Now, there's also the ability to hire agencies. So one of the things that I like to talk to people about is our agency, which is Foundry, which is more like a pace car for startups.
Sure.
We can get people up to speed, get them out on the track, and then slowly exit and let them kind of move on and with their own team and those in that direction. So for us, making sure that clients understand that over time they should be building their own team. They shouldn't
Absolutely.
be forever hooked to an agency from a development perspective over time.
Right.
It's just not cost effective as you're building out your product. And if you're looking for investors and people, they want you to have your own dedicated team.
Yep.
It's part of the value of your organization, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, to that point, not everybody has the luxury of being able to move forward with an agency right off the bat. So a lot of startup founders will go back to freelancers, will organize a group of their friends that are coders, right, and start putting things together. And that immediately makes me think of the importance of making sure you're starting this thing off right.
Yeah.
Find a good lawyer.
Yes.
So we have this discussion a lot with our clients at Foundry. We're not lawyers, right? But everybody's looking for legal advice. Find a good lawyer that can really get those documents in place. The contractor agreements are going to be really, really important.
Yeah.
If you do go the route of organizing your own dev team with some friends or some freelancers that you found, because always plan for the worst. Things can go wrong.
That's right.
And the last thing you want to do is, spend a year of your life building something and then have a falling out and then have an argument about who owns what. Just make sure that's all drafted up clearly in the beginning and get through that and then move forward with whatever direction you go. If you go with an agency, you'll have your own contracts with the agency, and the agency's contracts will specify, as long as we're paid, you own everything. So you're good there. Then you're going to need that lawyer for more of just making sure your business entity is set up properly, right? But definitely start with a lawyer. And then I know you were talking earlier as well about having a finance person.
Yeah, you want a finance person, you want an accountant that has some specific experience with startups. I think that's super helpful.
Yeah.
You can go to H&R Block or whoever you want, but you do want people that have some experience in startups. They're going to help you navigate the waters a little bit more, especially when you start to get to that hiring part and you need to start setting up things like payroll and other things like that. But to that point, what you were talking about earlier, something that I'm very passionate about, because a lawyer is good for covering your butt, right?
Yep.
But what also is that making sure that you're documenting all the work that's being done.
Yes.
So whether it's a freelancer, your own team, or you're an agency, make sure you're requiring these people to write down the decisions and choices that they're making as they're building out these things. Pattern libraries for the design, code documentation for anything that's being built in the back end. Make sure it's there.
Yep.
Look at it. Right. And again, you can get in an argument with people that will say, well, do you want me to be building this thing or writing down the documentation?
Right.
Do your future self a favor and make sure that they are documenting the decisions and choices they are making. Even if it's your brother, sister's cousin that's helping out from on a weekend or something, make sure that they're documenting things.
It's
because
super important.
It's going to be valuable for you in later on.
Nope, absolutely. It's super important. And I think that the focus along those lines should always be, this is going to grow to be something more. It will. Right. I mean, if you don't believe that, then stop doing it. Right. So this is going to grow to be something more. Set that future team up for success. So let's talk a little bit about what is that future team, right? So your initial team should consist of, you're going to have your technical co-founder. You're going to have somebody that can be building this, coding this. You're also going to need a designer right off the bat, right? Because if this isn't beautiful, it's going to have lower adoption rates, right? So you have a designer, you have a developer, you might have a salesperson, somebody that can communicate this and start pitching this, right? But then this turns into something. This is a real business. What are the kind of those first key hires that you always see?
Yeah, I think just like what you were saying, I mean, making sure you have somebody who can sell the application or service that you're building is really important, and also somebody who can support it as changes get made from a back end perspective. But I think there is other roles, like I mentioned, probably a full stack person would be super helpful, a designer, and again, these don't have to be full-time employees, but again, your plan should be is that in the future they are.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
But again, if it's a service-based company, I mean, you definitely need somebody focused on customer service as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, in a small organization, everybody needs to be a salesperson. Everybody needs to be
all the
focused
hats.
Exactly. But you as the founder and the leader need to sort of set that vision in place. That's what your expectations are, and that's why you're hiring these people. Is that they have this role, but you need them to wear some different hats too.
Yeah.
But with that, like, there's so many different roles you can have in a large organization. But being able to have access to those folks, working within the community, going to events and networking and talking with folks, telling everybody what your idea is, and then finding out where people are passionate. Maybe they can help you. Somebody here might have some QA resources that could come in and help with QA. Somebody over here might have some marketing services that might be able to help you with that. But I think marketing and selling your idea and making sure you've got some sort of plan to attack that, whether you're a technical co-founder or not, is super important because, I've seen people sell thin air,
Sure.
over and over again.
Yep.
And, but if you can get enough juice around that thin air,
right,
you could actually build something and it'd be pretty rad.
No, that's great. Thanks again for having me on, Kurt. This has been great.
Thanks for joining, Josh. And we look forward to talking to everybody in the chat after the show.
Thanks.